If you spend your whole life running around looking for apples, then you'll always have to do that. But if you're wise, you would plant the seeds. And then eventually the trees would grow and you would have a surplus of apples.
Hi, welcome to the Posner Property Perspective. We're going to have a great time today. We're here with Kristen Edwards from Houston, Texas. We're going to talk about collaboration. We're going to talk how we both got into the business and what's happening in our businesses and how our businesses are growing. And Kristen and I met through Elizabeth Riley, who's one of the great agents here at EXP. And it all started with a referral. But Christine, I want to talk a little bit first on how you even got into real estate.
Yeah, my journey was probably one that is typical and also not typical at the same time. So, really long story short, I moved to Houston back in December of 2009 for a company that I really loved. I'll say liked because I didn't realize that there was another level of love until I got into the real estate business. But I really liked what I did there. Long story short, with that was raised by a single mom. It's been a long time, but anyways, yeah, I really like this company. And one day we got a phone call letting us know that the company had been sold. And I knew in that moment that I needed to do something else. I just didn't know what that next something else was. And I went on a few job interviews and just nothing felt right. And to be super transparent with you, I've always had this like entrepreneurial spirit. And so I wanted to do something else. I wanted to build a legacy for myself and for family and for generations to come. And I actually felt called to be in the real estate business back in 2013. I wasn't raised in a family where that was socially acceptable, right? Where you were allowed to think outside the box and be an entrepreneur. My grandparents were born in the Depression and they struggled really hard. And so everything was work. And then you do that until you retire. And then they never had a passport. And I don't know, that's not the life I wanted to live. And so I've always had this internal battle with myself. So going through that experience just really solidified even more what I believed about what I wanted for myself and the legacy that I wanted.
You wanted to be in charge,
Yes, I do not
direct your
know what to
future.
do, which is why I also never joined a team. But yeah, I mean, I didn't, when I got laid off, I just thought, you know what, I'm just going to take about 6 months to figure this out because to be super transparent with you, I built my entire identity and who I was in that company. And everything had been shattered. And I was like, who am I now? This is what I've done for a decade. And I was a pro at that. I made good money at that. And I was like, now what? And my prayer time was for God to show me what he wanted me to do. So when I moved to Houston, I knew without a shadow of a doubt that this is where I was supposed to be. And this was that job that I took was the job that I was supposed to have. And so I didn't have to have that exact amount of clarity, but I needed something, just like a nudge to make sure that I was moving in the right direction. And so I'm coming home from Hobby Lobby. I had a small home decor business, which I still do on Etsy, but I haven't done anything with it for years because my real estate business has done so great that I don't have time to do both. But yeah, I'm stuck in traffic. There was an accident. It was gonna take 45 minutes to drive 2 miles. And I thought, why don't I just find another way? And so I'm on the map and I finally, okay, I'm like, get into this lane and take this left. And so then I look up and there's the Champion School of Real Estate sign. And it was literally like a rock hit me right between the eyes. And I was like, that's it. That's what I'm supposed to do. And I knew in that moment, it still makes me emotional today because it was such a defining moment in my life and such a turning point. And I can't imagine had that not been my prayer and had I not been open and receptive to doing something else, like where would we today? I had 6 months of real estate experience and I completely replaced the best year I ever had in that sales job out of a decade. And I've never only made that since. So I just was thinking way too small. And being able to tell the story and to give people hope and inspiration that they can absolutely have a super incredible life after they get laid off, like I think is something that should be shouted from the rooftops.
And you were saying you never joined a team, so you're a single
Solo.
agent
Yep,
and you're rocking it. You're an icon agent.
I
Do you want to
am.
tell people what icon means if they're not familiar with that term?
Yeah, so actually, I became an icon with the company in my second year in the business, which okay, I started 2 days before the country shut down in March of 2020. So obviously, timing was impeccable. For folks that already had a real estate business like up and going, that time frame for them was amazing. To start a real estate business with people when you hadn't had that before was like pulling teeth with no Novocaine. It's like, how do you start a business with people when people are being weird about being with people? And the becoming in part of the top 1% in the organization, my second year in the business, not just with the company in the business, I wasn't in real estate prior to that, was a huge accomplishment. And that was a really tough time for me. And even though I was working like crazy, I was doing all the same things that I had done the year before to become an icon. None of it was working. And I just thought I went through an identity crisis again, almost of not crisis, but like identity correction. Like, how come all this stuff worked before and now it doesn't? And what changed? And is there something wrong with me? And so finding a way to get unstuck, I call it getting stuck in the muck, is like something I feel like is so vital to not only your success, but to for the people around you too. There's so many people that depend on us. And we need to be our best for those people, whether they're people on our team, whether they're people under our roof, in our household, whether they're the inspectors that we work with, the title partners we work with, the lenders we work with, insurance that we work with, all of these people depend on us to continue to succeed and to continue to perform at
To
a really
grow.
high level. And so it's not just us. It doesn't matter if you're a solo agent or you have a massive team. There's somebody depending on you. And anyways, it's always been interesting to find out like, okay, here we go. We're going through another, because you don't really grow when times are good, grow when times are tough. And so it's interesting when the tough times come, instead of thinking like, oh my God, here we go again, or why me, or what happened, or why does everything so bad, thinking more along the lines of, okay, how can I grow from this and be better once this phase is over?
Do you feel also having the community of EXP around you and being around people who are staying positive and they're not just complaining? They're like, okay, what can I do? What changes? What do I have to do? How can I make it work?
Yes.
And that helps I think that helps pull me up.
1000%, especially when I was getting started in the business. If I would have stayed hanging out with a lot of the folks that I went to real estate school with, that whole conversation was very different, right? That conversation was, this is hard, this sucks. How could this happen? Why did God do this to us? What are we going to do? How do we start a business when nobody wants to be around people? That conversation was very different than being in the room with Elizabeth Riley and Renee Funk, and not literally in the room, we were literally on Zoom, but
Zoom.
it felt like we were in the room and checking in weekly and plugging in like crazy. So the country shuts down 2 days later. I haven't even gotten started. Literally, like I was still trying to set up email and who's my mentor and all of these things. And that my mentor was amazing too, by the way. She'd been in the business for 15 years when as associate broker. She knew her stuff inside and out. I never even got to meet her, but she was very vital to my success in the beginning because she gave me some confidence in knowing what to do and like having all the documents arranged so that I could on my own, because a lot of what I went through after that was just self-taught. I went to tons and tons of classes, but my motto, I guess, in the business has been and will continue to be, I will until. I'll keep doing what whatever I can, like in whatever it is, right? So let's say I'm working in zip forms, for example. This is a platform that we use for all of our electronic documents. So instead of trying to call someone else and get the answer from them, which by the way, they have a 24-hour service. So I'm not joking. I would call them 2, 3 o'clock in the morning because I'm like, I'm gonna figure this out and I'm gonna keep doing this until I figure it out. And yeah, I built my entire business off of open houses and I was like, I'll keep doing them and I'll keep asking questions and I'll keep trying different things until I figure it out. So That's been my motto. But yeah,
So
the
do you
love
still do open
came.
houses now?
I do. Yeah, I literally just did one on Sunday. So it
So
wasn't very busy, but doing open houses in gated communities is sometimes hard. And the Texans game was on, which is our football team here in Houston. So I get it. Maybe some folks
yeah,
weren't so excited about joining me, but yeah, I do.
we don't do open houses on Saturday when when Georgia plays because
There's
no
no
one's going to
point.
come. Now on Sunday when the Falcons play, don't worry, it's not an
Yeah,
issue.
yeah, it'll be
But
packed.
don't our
Yeah.
college football, you're in Texas, you take it seriously too.
Yeah, we
It's
do.
interesting because a lot of agents don't want to do their own open houses. And I'm like, wait, that's when you meet the neighbors. And people say, oh,
Nice.
nosy neighbors. I'm like, no, they're potential sellers down the road.
Sure.
They may know someone who wants to move into the neighborhood. So
100%.
they're going to tell you things about the neighborhood, both good and bad.
Yeah,
They're a
100%.
great resource.
I totally
So
agree.
I still do open houses.
I do too.
We're
And I'm the more the merrier. I've even put on open house signs before, neighbors, all neighbors welcome. Because I
yeah.
want everyone to know everybody's welcome. This isn't just, and sometimes
The
people will come in and they're like, oh, sorry, I'm just a neighbor. And I'm like, no, come in. Do you want a mimosa? Do you want me, let me tell you a little bit about the house. Keep me posted if you have any questions about anything. And then, hey, are you looking for you? Are you looking for someone else? Do you know someone who wants to be in the community? Because yeah, you never know. I have one open house. I'm not joking with this. Literally, it was my very first listing. And I'm not kidding. I was shaking like a leaf at this appointment. But the open house, I did two open houses at that house. And that property, that listing has led to over 20 transactions.
wow.
And I'm still doing business with all of those people. So that and those people still refer me business, which is just continued to grow my business also. So I always have the thought process of God's my business partner. So just ask him that, hey, if it's in your will, bless me with one buyer and one seller every open house and keep me safe. Because I typically do them by myself. Anyways,
Interesting. I do try to do open house. I either try to train other agents
yep,
or have a loan officer. Sometimes my husband gets dragged along.
sure.
I usually do have someone else in the house.
Yeah, I
Um,
prefer that just because if no one's there, because the market's been funky recently, right?
yeah.
So I prefer to have someone else there so I have someone to chat with or tell stories with or whatever. Or if we are really busy, I've got someone that's helping to get drinks to people or that's helping to get people signed in or that's helping to I've done that as well with lenders. I really prefer that. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm also not afraid to do it by myself.
We did something fun at one of our last open houses. So you know how someone can walk in and say, I'm looking for a friend.
Sure.
And this time they really were. So we started talking about the friend that they want to move in. I said,
Yeah.
oh, let's do a video. We took out my
Awesome.
phone,
Yep.
did a video. This house had this amazing kitchen. We did a video in the kitchen and we talked to her friend and we sent it to her. And I thought,
Cool.
what a great idea. So when someone says, hey,
I
I'm
love
looking for
it.
my mom or I'm looking for my friend, say, hey,
Yeah,
let's do a video. And
I
then I sent it to their, and therefore I got their real contact information.
sure
And it's been interesting. We'll see.
love it.
They
Yeah, I
weren't
think
ready to
just see
move
what
yet,
comes
but
from that.
and
Nothing
then,
comes from this one property. You never
yep,
know. Weeks down the road, years down the road. I've had folks that I've met at open houses years ago, and literally my follow-up game is not 100%. So just thinking like in ways that I can grow and improve as an agent, when I know somebody is definitely ready to move forward, I'm like a pit bull in the back of a meat truck. But somebody who's years down the road, I haven't typically been really great at keeping up with those folks. But I've had folks that I met years ago, 3 years ago, 1 year ago, come back and say, I remembered meeting you at this open house. And I remembered how fun you were and how
you have great
energetic you
energy.
were. And yeah, I knew that when I finally got the opportunity to buy or sell, whichever the situation was for them, like I had to work with you. And so it was really cool. And the experience was really beautiful.
You had mentioned that you are starting house hunting in Houston
House
and that
hunting
you've got,
Houston. Yep.
and tell me a
Sounds
little
like
bit
a
about
TV
that.
show, right?
It does.
I
Maybe
really want a
someone,
TV show, so I'm hoping somebody will pick us up.
you
Yeah.
never know.
I know God is amazing. Yep. He's always got a plan.
So hoping for 2026, you're going to introduce, you said, a new website, a YouTube channel.
Yep. My husband actually got his license and has joined me in the business as well.
Oh,
So,
very exciting.
yeah, I am not good with, I love people and I love to serve, but like all the back end stuff is not my forte. Or just not that I can't do it, it's just not what I'm the best at. And yeah, I definitely am excited for 2026. We've got quite a bit in the pipeline. And I know that there's an endless amount of opportunity that can come from the YouTube channel as well. We've hired a company to help us with all the editing of the videos and the backend optimization. And that company has been really successful. It's an agent out of Dallas. His channel is called Living in Dallas. And anyways, I think it'll be really cool to put a different little spin on it. This year, we've had to get really, the market's weird, right?
All
Properties are
right,
sitting and sitting
Jeannie.
and sitting. I don't know about you guys, but we have been in a massive buyer's market the whole year and of 2025 here in Houston with more than like a minimum of 5 months of inventory. And I've even had some listings in areas where we've got 13 months or 14 months of inventory. And so it's okay, what are we going to do to make this stand out? Because in an overly saturated market with hundreds and hundreds of houses within 2.5 miles also for sale, you've got to do something to make your property stand out and to help your sellers sell. And so one of the things we've done is help clients do remodels. So I've had clients that, and I think I know that you do this as well, but I've had clients that literally lived out of state. As a matter of fact, the couple that I referred to you was already gone when we started the remodel. The day after they moved out, we started the work. And anyways, we've been able to help clients sell their properties in record time without spending huge amounts of money. Areas in the business like AC and roofing and things like that as well. Anyways, we've, with the exception, so we did 6 remodels in 6 months from March to September. And I think the longest one of those properties sat on the market was 21 days. And actually it had been under contract and then came back out. And anyways, that's a long story, but everything else was under contract in less than 10 days. So single days on market. In a neighborhood, by the way, or in an area, by the way, where houses are sitting on the market for 500 plus days. So
Wow.
that
So
was unbelievable. Even the 21 days was unbelievable. And I think I didn't get to do all the things there that we would have liked to have done. And obviously, I think that made us have a little bit of a setback. But yeah, it's been a game changer.
because you saw the changes in the market and what I've seen here in Atlanta, I think we're about 5 months behind Houston.
Okay,
So we all of a sudden, like in June, it all of a sudden became a true seller's market here in Georgia. We had been 10 years a buyer's market. It switched in June. And I would tell my sellers, your house has to be move-in ready. The
100.
the buyers right now feel like they're paying a high, even though interest rates right now are 6, but at one point they were closer to 7.
Sure.
They didn't have the extra money to walk in and to tear down the wallpaper and to
Oh,
do all that. Or if they did, they wanted a deal on it.
a hundred
So if
percent.
you want to maximize what you're getting, we've got to have you do these updates. And even though you and I are solo agents, we have a team.
Sure.
It's our attorneys, it's our loan officers, it's our painters, it's our roofers. All those people are part of our team.
100%.
I'm dealing with a septic tank, and I have a great septic guy, Charles. As a matter of fact, he's going to do one of those podcasts. But one of my clients is buying one and they're a little anxious about it. I'm like, wait, I'm going to have you talk to Charles. He'll answer every question you ever had about septic.
I
And
love it. Perfect.
he was able to calm her down so that she understood what it was and it wasn't scary. But
Yes.
having all those people and being able to help your client say, not only I'm going to help you get your house ready to truly sell, and here's what we have to do, and I'm going to partner with you, and I'm going to be there.
Yes.
Oh, sometimes we have to hold hands, but that's what makes it work.
100%. I would actually prefer it that way. It's easier when the property is vacant. It's easier when the client trusts you and says, I'm telling them, look, this is my experience. These are the results we've gotten. If you want these same results, this is about what it's going to cost for you to do the same thing. And then the answer is yes or no. Obviously, we've had to get a little creative with how do we get the money. But I've literally had clients that were going to have to pay money at closing because they deferred payments during COVID, which is
Yeah.
a very dangerous thing. I don't know. I don't want to go into it, but I think that the banks back then were really tricking people into this being a relief for them. And then once they figure out, holy crap, I owe 50 grand in back payments because of my deferment. What did I sign? Because my mortgage is only $1,700 a month and I only deferred the payment for a year. So this money doesn't make sense. Like, how does this doesn't add up? And so, anyways, we've had some situations like that where clients were going to pay money at closing and a lot of money at closing. And then we invested literally what seemed like nothing into the property. And not only did they make all of that money back, but they made even more money than that. And in a time where it was like crucial for them to not go underwater. Yeah, it's all about being creative. Now, obviously, I've got
Yep.
clients that don't listen, right? They don't take the advice. They don't want to move forward with making any kind of updates or painting or changing lighting or whatever. And then we sit. So, and especially if they're not going to be aggressive with pricing, because there's only two things that can make you different. You can either price it perfectly or you can make it look gorgeous so that everybody wants it. So in a perfect world, you price it well and you make it look gorgeous so that we have more than one offer, which drives the price up higher. We're not getting any multiple offers right now in
Right.
this big buyer's market. But at the end of the day, we're still hired to do a job.
And you're getting houses sold. I tell there's three things that go into selling a house. Location, I can't change that.
Correct.
Condition, I can change. And
Yep.
price, I can change.
Correct.
So that's what we have to focus on are the last
Yes.
two.
Yeah.
We're going to get your house in the best condition we can, and then we're going to price it aggressively so that we get as many, the more eyes I get on your house, the closer I'm going to come to an offer,
A
you
hundred
know.
percent. And I always try to make sure my clients aren't doing some crazy numbers too. I know this sounds silly, but this is how people look. Typically, the number either ends in a zero, a 25, a 50, or a 75, right? So when people want to come on the market for 229 or whatever, we're not, there's so many people that we're not catching. When somebody's budget is 225, 225K, that's their ceiling. So if we're 229, we're only a little higher, but they're not seeing us.
They're not saying
And
it.
people who have a budget of 250, this is at the bottom kind of what they're looking for. But so they're probably looking for something maybe that's a little bit more updated or in a better location or a better whatever, right? Now that the interest rates are twice what they were back in 2021, 2022, 2020, you can afford half as much house. So technically, we're targeting even in the 300K price range, which is pretty much what I sell in all day long, by the way. We're originally targeting folks who had a $600,000 budget, and that mortgage is the same. So it's
Right.
okay, how do you go from liking something in the 600K range to now trying to find something in the 300K range that matches that? Because that doesn't exist. It's not the
Right.
same location, it's not the same updates. And you're totally right about the updates. It costs so much money for people to get in to a property right now. The last thing they can afford to do is turn around and dump more money into it. So if we just have it totally move-in ready, like not one time has that not gone well, really well.
And it's all about building that trust with
Yes.
your seller. They have to understand. And if you can show them, here's what I've done. I always tell people I'm a numbers person. I'm going to show you the numbers. We're going
Yes.
to go through. I have one seller right now. And they keep on saying, I want to price my house at this. But I'm like, the market, where are you? How did you get that number?
Right.
Because here's the recent sales. Here's even your identical unit, your identical house, your same
Yes.
floor plan in your neighborhood. Why all of a sudden do you think in the market that's gotten harder, are you going to get 20,000 more? Like
It's not going to happen. Yeah. And I used to
so
tell people, actually, before going to EXPCon, I literally used to tell people, I'll try whatever you want first. And if that doesn't work, then we need to be very aggressive because I don't know about in your market, but here, if we don't go under contract within 14 days, we're going to sit on the market for months,
yeah.
plural. I don't know how many months that is. It could be 2, it could be 6, it could be 8. I see some listings been on the market for 1,000 something days. So
Wow.
it's what do you want? Do you want to continue to, and also making the numbers make sense to them too, right? So I'm with you. I like the numbers too. But sometimes you just can't.
Nope. Sometimes I'll do what my client wants, but I've
Yeah.
also shown them here's what happens.
Yep.
But
And I just let
uh,
them know from the very beginning, if the first 14 days we're on the market is the most traffic we're ever going to have. After that, the traffic dwindles off like crazy. So we need to be super aggressive in that time frame, and they either take the advice or they don't. I don't give up on them. I still work really hard for them. We still do marketing. We still do open houses. We still do all the things. I still send them reports every single week when there's no showings and no activity and the traffic continues to decline. I know it's not fun to hear, but you've got to get this property sold. It's costing you money.
one of the things we're doing now is we're doing a tour of homes. So
Okay,
I
cool.
reached out to a group of agents. I ended up selling my house before we did the tour, but then I got another listing in that area,
Yeah,
and all these agents were, oh yeah, we'll do it. But I couldn't, they were like herding cats. I couldn't get them to do it. They were with
yeah,
all different companies. But I've
sure.
met one person, and she and I are meeting together tomorrow. We're planning a tour of homes for November 9th.
Awesome.
And we're going to have 6 different homes, and we're mostly in different neighborhoods, but all within a mile of each other.
That's
Because our
cool.
goal is to get more people, is to pull people in.
Yeah. Yeah,
So get traffic.
and
That's
help
the
promote
whole,
each other's listings too. There's no such thing in this business as competition to me. It's all
right.
about collaboration. How can we help each other be more successful? It's the old adage of help enough people get what they want and you'll have everything that you want. I've done that multiple times, especially in communities that are gated, like where there's a security guard at the front and nobody is coming in unless they have an appointment. So try selling houses in that community. It's really tough because none of the people that are coming have an appointment. Yes, I try to get people to RSVP, but you can't even put signs. You can't even put in a for sale sign in the yard. You cannot
I,
put signs anywhere in the community. So I've got these signs literally lined up and down this road that people are driving 50, 60 miles an hour on. And I'm running back and forth like around putting them out and then picking them up. So but I've done the same thing and I was able to get 4, 5, 6 agents, and all changed every time to participate in that so that at least when between all of us, if we could get someone in the door, right? Then they could go see everybody's place. And I can't tell you I got a ton of business out of it. I didn't, but that wasn't the point. To me, the point is always about giving and serving. And I don't chase transactions. I value relationship over transaction. Transactions come and go. It's like running around picking up apples. If you spend your whole life running around looking for apples, then you'll always have to do that. But if you're wise, you would plant the seeds and then eventually the trees would grow and you would have a surplus of apples. Because my goal and my prayer since I've been in the business has always been to have more than enough business to share and to spare. And I just can't wait. And I feel like the YouTube channel is really going to take us to the next level to really be able to move forward with that because I love people and I love to serve. And there's nothing that makes me feel more alive and more like I'm living in my purpose than to be able to do that. And I love to give. I give these big, extravagant client gifts, which I probably shouldn't do or whatever. But even my accountant told me when I was doing my taxes earlier this year, the market got really weird and really gross, but you spent even more like in your marketing budget and your giving budget. And so when things got funky, I didn't retract. I put my
right.
blinders on and I put my earplugs in because I think that's why I got so messed up in 2023 was because I started to listen to all the noise
Yeah, then, right. Yeah,
and how hard it was going to be and how awful it was going to be. And I believed it. And so that's what I lived. And then I thought, you know what? That does not dictate my destiny. You know what I mean? It doesn't. It
yep.
doesn't matter what you've heard or where you came from or what you've done. There is a, if you feel called to be in the business, so this getting into real estate wasn't a career change, it was a calling. I feel called to be in the business. It took me 7 years to answer. Yes, I wish I had not done that because I can't even imagine what my life would be like today had I listened 7 years ago.
But
I think about
there's a
that.
reason to the path.
100%. And everything that I did in the med center, I still do today. I used to do product shows in the medical center. I loved doing those. So this literally set up a table. You have researchers and people from all over the medical center come and say hi. That's like the same thing as doing open house.
Yes,
I love to entertain, which is why I love to do open houses. So I would say too, if open houses isn't your thing, don't try to force yourself to do something that doesn't feel authentically or organically you, because you won't do it. Maybe you can force yourself to do it for a little bit, but it's like cutting out all the sugar and running 5 miles a day when you haven't been doing either of those things. That's not the easy way to do it. That's not the way to get going and to get started with your life change. The way to do it is to like go out and walk for, set a timer, go walk for 10 minutes. Cut out one piece of bread first, and then move forward from there in your success. And then don't be afraid to fail. Like I, when the very first open house I ever did, I had no clue what I was doing. I was shaking like a leaf. I broke two open houses, and the same day they were an hour, almost an hour apart. I only had 1 hour in between. I was trying to throw the signs out in the yard. It was like Memorial Day weekend. It was hotter than blazes. I was drenched in sweat. And somebody actually showed up to the first one. And actually, somebody showed up to the second one too. So one couple at each place. But the second open house, that they had an appointment booked during the open house. So that was like that one didn't really count. But I was like such a nervous wreck. And I could have been like, you know what? This is awful. This doesn't work. But instead of that, I thought, you know what? Why don't I just try things a little different?
differently. What could I do to?
Yeah, learn from it, right? So failure doesn't have to be like, oh my God, my life is over, my business is over, everything is garbage. It's not. Adapt, ask questions, and adapt. I used to put out like a Bisquillion open house signs. I started asking people, hey, how did you find out about the open house? How did you find out about the open house? How did you find out about the open house? Back in COVID, a lot of people were finding about the open house by signs. So I used to do a ton of signs then. But now when I ask people, hey, how'd you find out about the open house? Almost no one says signs. So there's no point. I don't need to put out 25 signs, right? The 5 or 6 or 10 is just as good, because once they have the address of the house, they know how to get there. Everyone has GPS,
Right.
mostly
Those
everyone. There
people.
are a few dinosaurs that have a flip phone with probably no internet on it. I actually have a friend like that. I love him to death. He's awesome. For the most part, people really aren't following the signs to an open house or whatever. So just, yeah, find those things that bring you joy and double, triple, quadruple, whatever down on those. And it's really cool to see what happens when you just don't give up.
And where do you see, you were talking about your rebranding for
Yep.
next year. What other areas are you thinking you're going to grow in next year?
Oh my gosh. I think the YouTube channel is going to really launch our life and our business in a very different trajectory. We're working with passive prospecting, and
Yes.
those guys had an unreal amount of success. Obviously, they built that whole thing during COVID when literally everyone was looking at for information and looking at things online. But at the end of the day, that still exists. And my husband's actually done some research. There's only 5 agents that are doing good with YouTube here. So I think the opportunity is massive. Some personal things I really need to do is I just celebrated my 42nd birthday
Great.
in September, and I still have not started a family yet. That adventure will be
We'll talk
very,
about that offline. I'll tell
yeah,
you.
that adventure is going to be interesting. Hopefully, God blesses us with a healthy baby. They're all from the same litter, but obviously very different personalities. So, yeah, I'm excited about this. And then I think we're also going to be growing a team in 2026 as well. I've had several people ask to be a part of my team. I just don't feel like I produce enough sustainable business, and I definitely couldn't have someone on payroll yet to be able to do that. So I do think that we will have that opportunity this coming year. We're also trying to get my husband's mom back in the business. She used to be in the business a couple decades ago, and so that would be awesome to have her as a transaction coordinator and just to help keep the train on the tracks. And we'll be looking for a buyer's agent also.
So you've got some great plans because One of the nice things about EXP is there's so many different tracks you can take. You can have a team, you can be a
Yes,
mentor, you could do a lot of things to grow your downline, to bring on other agents, and to continue to share. Like I always want to give to new people who are entering into real estate to help them make it a smooth transition because it's hard. And
100%.
being strictly on commission is, if you
That's what
don't,
kept me from moving forward with it in the first place. I felt called to be in the business, but I was not raised in a family where you did not have a job.
right.
Technically, this is not a job. You don't, yes, you can create that structure, and it's really good to create that structure, even if that's not something that you're really good at. There's nobody forcing you to get out of bed in the morning. There's no one forcing you to do this report, that report, lead generate. I tell people all the time, we're not really realtors, we're marketers.
We're 50% marketing, is what I tell people.
I tell them we're 95% marketing. Because if you have someone to have a conversation with, you're really not in the real estate game. You know what I mean? And so it's like you spend your entire life and your entire business growing friendships, growing relationships, and building trust with people so that in the event that something, a need comes up, you're the first person they think about. We were just at a friend's 40th birthday party, not this past weekend, but the weekend before. And one of my girlfriends there came up and she started talking to me about real estate. And then about, I don't know, 5, 10 minutes in the conversation, she goes, I'm really sorry. Is it okay? Every time I see you, I just have to talk about real estate. I'm like, are you kidding me? I love this.
I'd
Like,
love to talk about it, right?
absolutely. Like, I'm not going to go around talking to everyone about it, bringing it up, but everywhere we go, any type of gathering, any type of family thing that we do, any type of friend thing that we do, there's always conversation about real estate because real estate is our life. Like, 100% it's our life. And I love it. I wouldn't have it any
I,
other way.
I love helping someone find their home is so important. Or if they're transitioning from
100%.
one home to a different, helping that, making it a smooth ride, be it,
Yes.
helping them with our different vendors or just being there to hold their hand. Last night, 10:30, 8:30 at night, I met a client because they weren't comfortable signing online.
Yep.
So I went to their home so that they could sign the contract. This afternoon, drove to my other client. She's just moving into assisted living, didn't
Mm.
have the computer sign set up yet. She was gonna, there's no way you can sign all that and read it on the phone. I'm like, I'm gonna meet you in
Yeah.
person. We're gonna do it. I want you to feel comfortable. I want you to know what you're signing. But it's taking that time to show that you care, that you're gonna take the
100%.
extra step and
Yes.
be there for them. And they appreciate that. So,
100%. There's
uh,
nothing I won't do for someone, no matter what it is. I've done that too. I've been on the phone with people at all hours of the day and night. I've gone to meet people in person. I've gone to take them things to sign. At the end of the day, this is like I said, I run my business very relationship based. And I remember when I first got into that sales job in the medical center, and I'll never forget this. My boss at the time was like, Kristen, the thing that worries me the most about you is you're so concerned about relationships with people. He's not sure that you're ever going to be successful in business and sales because you're too concerned about having a relationship. And I told him, I said, let me just ask you a question. Will people do business with you if they don't know you, like you, or trust you? We're not buying online. Yes, I can go on Amazon and buy some vitamins without talking to a human being. But this isn't a vitamin transaction, right? This is the largest investment that people ever make in their life typically. And I think it's beautiful that we are afforded the opportunity to be a part of that glorious moment. People will never forget when they bought their first home. And
yeah.
they'll never forget the experience they had with that. And they'll never stop talking about it. So this
It's
is a
all
great one.
you want that experience to be good. I always tell
Yeah.
people, I'm going to be on this journey with you along the way. I'm going to be here
100%.
to answer questions and to help. That's it is. It's about the relationship.
I love my
You-
people. I've cried with people. It's a whole thing. I cannot speak highly enough to the heart and the love that goes into serving people. I don't know. It's awesome.
and your experience, we just were together at EXPCon
Yep.
and it was a great experience. I walked away with so much AI knowledge. It was a little scary,
I
but
know. I was like, wow, I need to change a lot. Okay, so I need to put that on my 2026 list too. So things to get in touch with.
I will tell you, I've been using some of those tools already, and it is
Yeah.
making my life, it's making life easier. It's making me more efficient.
Which we all
And
need
that's what we
also.
all need. So we
Yes.
can use our time. Is there anything about being with EXP, if you're going to share with an agent who's looking at joining EXP, what are some of the things you've liked about being part of the family here?
Yeah, so I've never been anywhere else. So I can't speak to, oh, at my other brokerage, this, that, whatever. But I'll tell you, and Jason Gessing told this story on stage back in 2021 when I met him. I was a brand new baby agent. I had literally been in the business for 18 months. And in the prior 3 months to EXPCon, which is the first EXPCon I had been to, I had just closed like 18 transactions. And
Wow.
I feel like I was on fire. I'm like, wow, this is incredible. Once again, like we were talking, the high of the high, like just felt like I was made for this. I love this. There was also when the interest rate was three-ish percent. So obviously that time I know was a little different. But I told him, and it's an oxymoron because we're a virtual company, right? And so I love how, and not all of our agents that I've had any type of interaction with seem to be the same way. Going to EXPCon to me is like having a family reunion. It's going to
Yeah.
see all the agents that you haven't seen in a while because we're all spread out all over the world now, 28 different countries. So it's like if people in other countries build a business and build an organization there too. But I think it's just so beautiful to be able to spend so much time with people to learn different things about what is happening in their world and to create relationship with them too, because you never know what opportunities come from that next, whether it's business opportunities, whether it's podcast opportunities, whether it's interview opportunities, whether it's mentoring
Or
opportunities. So yeah, I love it.
and it's our referral net. I talked to someone today and we're looking at listing their parents' house. Unfortunately, they both have passed away
Sorry.
and they may be moving to Texas. I said, great. I have
Perfect.
tons of agents in Texas. We can help you out. And I started telling them about how the market's going in Texas. And it opened up another door because they don't
Absolutely.
know anyone in Texas. They're just thinking he's a vet and there's better benefits for vets in Texas.
Yes.
And with the no income tax and different things, they
Yes.
think Texas may be a great place to live.
And I was born
But
and raised here, and I only left for a couple of years and came right back.
you just never know. But being able to
True.
be confident to say, oh, I'm going to call my friend and she's going to help you. I'm going to call
Yes.
Kristen. She's going to get you set up.
Yes.
Makes a
Yeah,
big
and you already
difference.
know that they're going to have an amazing experience with that person
That's,
because
yeah.
you know them, you love them, you know their vibe, you know their energy, you know what they're about, that they take care of
They're
their
service oriented.
people. Yeah. And they come from heart and they're not chasing down transactions and chasing down paycheck. To me, I just have always had this belief system that if you chase money, you'll always have to chase money. When I got into the business, I know this sounds crazy. I started mentoring after only being in the business for 8 months with EXP. And I know people were asked, like, what the, are you crazy? What are you doing? You don't mentor. What do you know? You've only been in the business for 8 months. Like, you're a baby yourself. But what was wild was I'd already met all the requirements to become a mentor, which I thought was cool. And then one of my very first mentees, like first five actually, was a woman who had been in the business for 20 years. And I thought, what? I remember meeting her at Panera Bread, and I was like starstruck. I'm like, what am I? I'm like, I don't even know how I could be of service to you. Like, are you sure? Like, why are you in the mentor program? Like, how did this happen? And whatever. And then I realized once I started talking to her about putting documents together, and we started talking about it, I'm like, oh, wait a minute. Years in the business does not equate to experience in the business. And yes, she had been in the business for 20 years, but I had more experience in 8 months than she had in 20 years. So it's who would you rather have serve your client? Somebody who does two or three transactions a year, or someone who does two or three transactions a month, or someone who does two or three transactions a week? At the end of the day, we're all realtors, whether we've closed zero transactions or 1,000 transactions. And so I thought I'm not going to be afraid because I kind of had this like a fear, intimidation. When you go from being a pro for a decade and like walking in and people knowing who you are to like being a freaking rookie again, which man, that was hard. So we're getting ready to be a rookie on the YouTube thing. So I don't know, maybe wait a few months. The first few videos are probably gonna be bad. No, I'm kidding. But it was like, how can I compress that time? And so I did. I plugged in. Our network of agents that are willing to just give and tell everything is so unbelievable. We're not competitors. We don't compete against each other. We are collaborators. I spent 6 hours, 6 to 8 hours a day, 6 days a week with EXP agents learning everything I could through our online platform. And because I wanted to compress a decade into a month. Like, how can I go from looking and sounding like a rookie to having somebody standing behind me, not even knowing that I've never closed a transaction before? And I just wasn't afraid to fail.
When I got back, I'd done real estate in Manhattan in the
Wow.
late 80s. And
Wow.
then I left,
Ball game.
did psychology, owned a bridal business for 25 years. Then I went back into real estate. My first client, who I've now sold 3 houses to,
Yeah.
they don't know that they were my first client
That's so cool.
because I service
Beautiful.
but I also had the support around me. But that's what you have to feel comfortable. And I also think, like you say, you have to have that community around you. So if you have a question, you have people to go to.
Yes.
And I really think with EXP, everyone's pouring into each other.
Yes.
And
Because
we
when one
don't
person
see
does great, we all do great. We're not fighting against each other for awards or for whatever. Everybody can be in the top 1% if you're willing to work for it, right? The difference between, and so I also became part of the top. So every year you have to earn the top 1%. So I became part of the top 1% again in March of this year. And actually I had a goal to, so my new year and in EXP starts over on April 1. So I squeezed in by the skin of my teeth. Actually, the very first time I got in, I only had 45 minutes to spare, but that's a whole, I could do a whole nother podcast on that. That was a crazy experience. But yeah, my goal was to do that to Icon again before the end of December. So that's not exactly going to happen, but I have plenty of time to hit it before the end of March.
this hopefully is going to be my first year to Icon. And
That's awesome.
I'm so excited. And I was, how am I going to do it? And this and that. And I went, you have 8 listings right now.
Mm.
And I'm in the process of getting 2 or 3 more.
Wow, that's
Yesterday, I was going to my listing today, and with the one she had to sign the papers, and I realized, oh, I'm out of lock boxes.
oh my
I'm
gosh,
like,
that's a cool problem to
what a
have.
good problem to have.
Yep,
So I just
Amazon. Yeah, let me get this here really quick.
the super often. I was going to another listing presentation that happened to be near one of the other offices where I could
Yeah,
get a super box. So I went there first, picked up 2 boxes,
perfect.
lock boxes, and then went to my listing presentation. Then I went to my new listing.
I
But
love it.
I was like, oh, you know what? I am going to be able to do it.
This is a cool problem to have. Yeah,
This is
very cool
exciting.
problem.
And it's because so many people at EXP have poured into me. And you mentioned Renee Funk and Elizabeth and Deborah. There's so many people who've just been supportive. And I'm so excited to be part of our family and can't wait to see what 2026 between my podcast and your YouTube. That's where people are going now to learn about real estate.
A hundred
That's where
percent.
they're going.
Literally,
And
more people are, I can't remember what the statistic is. I should have looked it up, but literally more people go to YouTube than any to search for how to do something than any other online platform. So why not? What do we
well,
have to lose?
this is funny. So one of my listings, we never got it to the market. I walked into the listing and I went, this is perfect for one of my other clients. I'm like, the
Yeah,
house, just like I was like, he has one of those locks on his door where you put the number
keypad.
combination
Yeah,
keypad. Thank you. So he'd given me the keypad, how to open it, but
yep.
he didn't tell me how to close it. And it just wasn't, you didn't put the number back in and hit pound. That wasn't it. He's out camping. I can't figure it out.
Oh
I
my,
took a picture of it, put
yep.
it on Google, said, find me directions. on how do I close.
Yes.
And I found a YouTube video on how to do it. And it was like, so
Oh my
that's
gosh. That was
so
talking about
yes.
AI too. Chat GPT, I think, and any other like kind of AI. I know there's a bunch of different AI platforms. I'm a nerd on all. I like it. Ignorant, but breaking out of my shell and working. I see you're working with Fixer too. I learned about that at
Oh, I
EXP.
just
Never even
did
heard of
that
it.
because of
Yeah,
EXP kind.
yeah, I've that's been on my heart to get done since I got back. But yeah, I anything I don't know how to do or I want to learn more about, I literally go to chat, and then if I want to know how to do something like mechanical, meaning like something that like I want to build a flower arrangement, or I'm trying to figure out how to put something, fix something. My husband's literally always looking, watching YouTube videos. He fixed our air conditioner one time. We had a compressor out. And
Wow.
literally, like we knew it was the compressor because we talked to chat. I didn't mean that. My friends are like, you and chat, who is this? Who's chat? Who is this new friend you're talking
You
like?
got a
What are you
name
talking about
chat.
this chat? So always talking to chat. So I was like, no, this is anyway, a chat GPT. They're like, oh my God, you literally use it that much? I'm like, yes. So it's like you go to chat, you figure out how to whatever it like what is it that's wrong, and then you go to YouTube and watch the video on how to do it.
It is amazing.
I've figured so much stuff out by doing that. And yeah,
So
I'm
YouTube, I think YouTube, podcast, all these are going to be
yep,
new ways of people getting finding us. And I think
yeah,
also they feel like they know a little bit of our personalities by the time they find us.
100%. Yeah.
They and
You're not
you're real
chasing
on
them.
these things, but it's a little bit more fun. Oh,
Yes, and we're not, it's not chasing clients. So constantly having like when you're door knocking or you're calling or you're doing this or doing that, it's you always chasing. And I know maybe that's not the right word, but it's you always having to pursue. And when you get really sick or you have a death in the family or two deaths in the family or you have a baby or whatever the situation is, you need something that is going to continue to provide opportunities for you regardless of whether you're chasing. And I think YouTube is by far the best way to do that. When people meet you after they've seen you on video, they literally feel like they already know you. They're
yes,
100% sold on working with you. You're not interviewing with 5, 10, 15 other agents. I've even heard some people recently interviewing buyer agents. I was like, what? Okay, cool. What do you want to know? Like, I don't even know how to react. It wasn't my client, by the way. I heard about this from another. They actually were people that were my open house. But anyways, yeah, and by the way, for VA, I have, if those clients are moving to Houston, I have been able to give some VA clients a massive blessing by helping to get seller concessions. So literally where I've got clients that are buying properties and they are receive instead of bringing a check to closing, they're receiving a check at closing either in the dollar amount of like their first mortgage payment or their first couple of mortgage payments. And so I love veterans. I do not have the guts to do what these amazing men and women have done. And I'm just so grateful that there are people on this planet who are willing to sacrifice their life for us. This is my way to help, and I absolutely love veterans. But yeah, I it's a totally different way going back to YouTube and podcasts of being a resource for people, right? And helping them to understand who you are, what you're about, what you do different. I know tons and tons of agents that were like, you're doing what? Actually, as a matter of fact, when I talk to agents about doing renovations this year, they're like, are you crazy? They look at you like you got lobsters crawling out of your ears, right? And it's what's our alternative?
right.
We sit on the market for 525 days. There was literally I so in our community that we live in, I'm the only agent who sold anything in the last 2 years.
Wow.
Not because other listings haven't come up, but because I do things different. And even when other listings do come up, they sit and sit and sit and sit and sit. And so, anyways, it took me 5 years to sell the first 10% of this community. And then I've sold the next 10% in the last 6 months. So it's like, what's the difference? Magic? It's not magic. There's a recipe for everything. It's
But
not good luck. It's hard work.
No, it's work and it's
Consistency.
reinventing ourselves. If you see
Yes.
something isn't working, it's okay. Let's try something else. What are we going to do next? And one of the things that's great about EXP is that they're always trying to look to see what are we going to do a little differently? What tools do our agents need?
Yeah,
And that's
100%. And
very
being
exciting.
consistent, not trying every single new thing that comes out. Like I'm an old school person, and I know that in this business we have to constantly evolve and change or we'll be irrelevant, right? But
Right.
at the end of the day, there's also people who spend their entire business chasing stuff all over like all the shiny objects. They don't commit to anything and they're not focused on their business. They're like focused on, they're fixing to fix into. They're fixing to do this, they're fixing to do that. They're always fixing to do something. They never do
That's a Southern term.
yeah, fixing,
I'm
yeah,
fixing
fixing
to.
to, right? So one of the analogies I heard when I first got in the business was like the real estate business is like swimming. So you can read books about swimming, you can watch videos about swimming, you can listen to podcasts about swimming, you can watch YouTube videos about swimming, you can think about swimming, nothing changes until you jump in the pool.
Got to get in that water.
You got to get in there. And so even regardless of what it is it, and then one of the things we're focusing big on in 2026 too is getting into higher price point. You do 30, 40 transactions a year, that's incredible. It's amazing. Most agents aren't doing even close to that much. But when your average price point is 250, that's a heck of a lot of freaking transactions. So imagine if that price point just doubled and was 500. Now that's a whole nother ball game. Like that gives us more opportunity to bless other people's lives. And it's not about the money. It's money is a tool. It's a thing. It's something that you use to bless other people's lives. Like I said, if you chase money, you always have to chase money. If you work to
Right.
give service, the money will always show up. At the end of the day, I work for an audience of one. And I got lots of guardian angels up there to watch over and to help provide. And I just trust in the process, regardless of how hard it gets.
Chris, it's been such a pleasure doing this interview today. I hope we inspire other agents to come talk, look at EXP. If you have any
Absolutely.
questions, our contact information is going to be below. We both have been blessed by being here with EXP, with the group of people we have around us, with the
Yes.
opportunities. And you even said at the beginning, it's that you can be you're an entrepreneur, you can grow as much as you want. And as hard as
Yes.
you work, that's the success and the people that you can help. I believe that having a home is the financial legacy that you're giving to your family and to future generations. I think we are in a great business. And again, thank you again for joining us. And as I like to say to my viewers, we'll see you at the closing table. Thanks for tuning into the Posner Property Perspective. I hope you enjoyed today's episode and found it helpful as you navigate your real estate journey. Remember, whether you're buying, selling, or just exploring the market, I'm here to help to make the process smooth, exciting, and stress-free. Let's take the next step together. Contact me today. I'd love to hear from you and make your real estate wishes come true.